Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's regular meeting, June 6th, the Owensboro Board of Commissioners. At this time, I would like for our city clerk, Beth Cecil, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Jay Vallata.
Here.
Commissioner Larry Conder.
Here.
Mayor Tom Watson.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Bob Glenn. Is unavailable. And Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright.
Here.
Good. At this time, I will call on Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright to lead us in an invocation and the pledge. Please stand and remove your lids.
Please pray and bow with me if it's your desire. Dear Lord, here we are tonight, thanking you for another day that you've made. We ask that you will teach us to trust in you and to protect us from harm. Dear Father, give us discretion, foresight, and understanding in making decisions. We pray for our police, firefighters, and all the city employees as they go about their task of making this city a great place to live. I pray for our servicemen and women wherever they may be. Dear Lord, give us a tender heart of compassion toward those we lead and serve. In your name I pray, amen. Now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
At this time, item number 4 on the agenda is presentations. Will be Western Kentucky Air Service Partnership. Mr. Bob Whitmer.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for allowing us to give a short presentation here tonight on something that actually you all spearheaded. Mayor Watson said something to me one time when I was talking to him about promoting our commercial flights, our flights to Orlando, our flights to St. Louis, and trying to take advantage of any opportunity we could to grow our customer base. And he suggested I go to the Bowling Green City Commission, Paducah's City Commission, and talk to them about what we have to offer. Thought it was a great idea, but I kind of thought to myself, you know, how would they receive that? So to get a mutual benefit out of it from Paducah and Bowling Green, I called our airport directors, which are joining me here tonight, from those two communities, and said, how can we help each other? You know, we've got some great air service in Western Kentucky that a lot of people don't know about. We're trying to spread the word about Allegiant flying to Orlando, Cape Air going to St. Louis. Well, they also have some services to tell you about that we have in Western Kentucky. So we not only want to maintain those services, we hope to grow it. So we thought in a partnership, we can certainly do that and spread the word. So I hope to visit Bowling Green and get invited to Paducah and do what we're doing here tonight. So that's the general part. But we may decide to coordinate on some other issues, some challenges, some opportunities for Western Kentucky as far as, you know, continuing to grow our air service, and with some of the challenges in the budgets right now, the federal budgets, to maintain some of the things we have. So we could be telling you more about that in the near future, but tonight we really want to kind of focus in on what's available to everybody in the Owensboro region as well as Bowling Green and Owensboro. The first airport director I'd like to introduce is Rob Barnett. He is the airport director of the Bowling Green Airport.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Please
you very
state
much.
your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Rob Barnett. I'm the airport manager at the Bowling Green Warren County Regional Airport, and our address at the Bowling Green Warren County Regional Airport is 1000 Woodhurst Street, Bowling Green, Kentucky 42103.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Beautiful day, beautiful city. I enjoy coming over to Owensboro as usual. My children are enjoying your riverfront park down here as we speak.
It's free, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, and it's absolutely beautiful. And Bob made me aware on my way in, talking to him on the phone, it's #1 in the world. So my 15-year-old daughter Googles that fact as I'm telling her that coming down the road. She said, "Dad, he's right." It is absolutely beautiful, and thank you again for the invitation. I did put together a small folder for you all, just with a schedule and of the fees from Bowling Green to Destin. We currently serve Destin, Florida from Bowling Green on a 27-seat Jetstream 41. We do that 3 days a week. We do that on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, a round trip, $139 each way. And I just wanted to leave behind some information for you all. We are not competitors. Bowling Green's not a competitor with Owensboro. Your folks are flying to Orlando. We're flying to Destin, over 400 miles apart. Richard's not a competitor of ours going to Chicago either. So this works very well for us to get the opportunity to come in and represent our Contour Airlines that serves our community, which is the first airline that served Bowling Green since 1979. So we're pretty pleased with the success so far, but we want to continue to build, promote, and all the things necessary to sustain air service, because as you all know, it gets incredibly difficult, more difficult each and every day to retain air service in a community of Bowling Green size or this community size. So I'll answer any questions that you have. I thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, once I leave, you have my contact information in the folder there. Thank you all.
What kind of, how many people are you taking? My wife loves Destin, so I want you to stay away from her.
Where's she at?
No, she's not here tonight.
We'll talk later.
But how many, is it a 27-seater?
It's a 27-seat Jetstream 41, pressurized turboprop, hour and 47 minutes from Bowling Green to Destin. $139 each way. It's just
usually full?
We're probably around the 80% load factor right now,
Okay.
sir.
And so is that it doesn't go to that big airport, Panama City? You
No,
go
sir.
to the one over there by the golf course?
Right. We actually go into Eglin Air Force Base.
Oh, okay.
We do. We go into Eglin, the civilian side of Eglin Air Force Base, because the cost and the runway length and a lot of associated factors that gets us into Eglin. More convenience, more rental car opportunities, less crowded, cost is a lot lower, but we go into what's called VPS Airport.
Is
There it is.
Contour, is it a subsidiary of JetBlue or something
No, sir.
like that?
It's privately owned.
Freestanding, okay.
Correct, yes. They're based in Smyrna, Tennessee.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, Commissioners, I'm Richard Roof, Airport Manager, Barkley Regional Airport Authority, 2901 Fisher Road, West Paducah, Kentucky, 42086. Our own thriving community there to the west of a major part of town. When you try to look up air service and you look at Paducah, Owensboro, Bowling Green, you wind up looking in the yellow pages under the description of airlines, possibly transportation. These are the wrong categories. The three of us are purveyors of the two most valuable attributes a human can have: time and convenience. We offer both of those in astounding amounts. So local air service is really critical to the people in the regions that are served by these airports because of the advantages that they offer. For instance, at any of our three locations here, if you want to fly out of Bowling Green, Owensboro, or Paducah, checking in generally 30 minutes in advance takes care of the issue. It's not the 2 to 3 hours that you'll find at a hub airport. We just need to be remembered for what we do for the local community. In Paducah's case, we have SkyWest Airlines doing business as United Express, twice a day to Chicago O'Hare. And it's a 50-seat regional jet. And we're growing so far this year at about 6.5% over last year. Our fares are to Chicago under the new basic fare that United has just brought out are roughly $96 lower than Chicago service out of a certain unnamed close by airport across the river.
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about. Never mind.
I can't seem to remember the name of that community, but it works well, which if you need to go to Chicago, think about the fact that if there are 2 or 3 or 4 people involved, that's about a $300 savings, which makes it certainly worthwhile for the drive. But this air service, again, is essential to the communities that are served because of the potential for what it can do. In Paducah, for example, the economic impact's about $30 million a year, and that's a slug. So we want to do everything we can to retain that service, just as well as Owensboro needs its 2 carriers and Bowling Green's its 1. Remember now, Kentucky's an east-west state, not a north-south state, and this is the only air service west of Louisville. We need it for economic development. Again, if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
How were you able to land such an outstanding spot to go from Paducah to Chicago and get into O'Hare and not Love Field?
Our service is similar to the service that Owensboro had at one time with Ozark and with Eastern. We relied on nearby hubs. St. Louis, Louisville was never a hub, but it still was a magnet for air service. Nashville, Bowling Green, and down to Memphis. With the mergers of the carriers, we now have very little competition between the 3 remaining carriers in Southwest. And the result is the hubs have lost a lot of service. So when we looked at service, when we got our cancellation notice from Northwest Airlink, we went north. Chicago offers nonstop 63 domestic destinations a day, 17 international. I'm sure you all are aware of the quilt show that will now be in Paducah for twice a year now. Someone from Tokyo, Australia, Beijing, China can access that quilt show on one connection. So that's what it does.
Questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Glad you came to Owensboro.
Beautiful city. I was glad to be back.
Well, good. Spend some money before you leave, will you?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Any questions? Or any of the 3 of us? Just remember, you've got convenient service, you got low-cost service. You're not traveling 2 hours to an airport, to a metropolitan area, and your tax dollars are staying local. Local in Paducah, local in Bowling Green and Owensboro. The jobs are TSA jobs, they're airline jobs, they're airport jobs. So all this is a factor too that I know you're aware of, but the general public may not be. So thank you all very much for this opportunity.
And the Bowling Green flight to Destin can take golf clubs?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we load those just about every flight.
All right, great. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you. At this time, I'd like to call on a good friend of mine, Nick Hetman, to make a little statement concerning his passion.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
For the
Name and
record,
address for the record, please.
For the record, my name is Nick Hetman, 1636 Forest Lane, Owensboro. I stand before you today as both the Vice Commander of the American Legion James Yates Post 9 and as a proud veteran of the United States Navy, 1971 to 1977. What I'm about to say today may surprise you for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm not here to disagree with anything. There's been plenty of that in recent days and weeks, and this is not about that. Secondly, I'm not here to ask you for anything, which also is a departure. But on this, the 73rd anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, D-Day, I think it's an appropriate time to offer a sincere and heartfelt thank you for all you do. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support of veterans, for veterans organizations. In recent months and years, I have seen most of you at various veterans events, various veterans organizations. I've seen you give your verbal support, and more importantly, I've seen you give your personal funds to these events. This is not about public funding. This is a thank you for what you're doing as individuals. If you ever think that for any reason what you're doing is either unseen or unappreciated, you could not be more wrong. When you all attend events, trust me, people see it, people appreciate it. And this is just a very short, but I wanted this on the record, a sincere and very heartfelt thank you for all you do. It's that simple.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate your service. And I will recognize retired Lieutenant Colonel Bill Parrish and retired Major Ed Ray on our dais. Dais? Is that how you say it? Dais. Two very fine soldiers that we have working for us all the time.
Mr. Ray,
He's a Marine. I forgot. He's not a soldier. It kills me every dead blame time.
My father was a 20-year Marine. Trust me, I get it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Nick. Next item on the agenda is a proclamation I'd like to read concerning Men's Health Month. Whereas despite advances in medical technology and research, men continue to live an average of 5 years less than women, with Native American and African American men having the lowest life expectancy. And whereas educating the public and healthcare providers about the importance of a healthy lifestyle and early detection of male health problems will result in reducing rates of mortality from disease. And whereas men who are educated about the value of preventive health can play in prolonging their lifespan and their role as productive family members will be more likely to participate in health screenings. And whereas fathers who maintain a healthy lifestyle are role models for their children and have happier, healthier children. And whereas the Men's Health Network worked with Congress to develop a national men's health awareness period as a special campaign to help educate men, boys, and their families about the importance of positive health attitudes and preventive health practices. And whereas the citizens of Owensboro are encouraged to increase awareness of this importance of a healthy lifestyle, regular exercise, and medical checkups. Now, therefore, I, Thomas Hart Watson, Mayor of the City of Owensboro, do hereby proclaim June 2017 as Men's Health Month in the City of Owensboro. And we'll mail this proclamation. Thank you. Item number 5, I'd like to consider approval of the minutes of May 9, May 15, May 17, 2017. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5B, consider board appointments. The Apollo Area Alliance Board reappoint Susie Hoop to a 2-year term expiring May 28, 2019. Shively York Alliance Board reappoint John Garvin to a 2-year term expiring July 16, 2019. And reappoint Sheila Roberts to a 2-year term expiring June 6, 2019. Wesley and Shawnee Alliance Board appoint Andy Gamblin to a 2-year term expiring June the 6th, 2019. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any commission comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Tonight, there's no ordinance for second readings. Mr. Ray, item number 7, first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. First is 14-2017, an ordinance annexing to the City of Owensboro certain unincorporated territory in the County of Davies, adjoining the present boundary line of the city, being properly located at 2900 Kentucky Highway 54, Gateway Commons Development, Track 4, 10.191 acres, more or less. Introduced and publicly read on first reading June 6th, 2017.
Thank you. There will be no vote. Item number 7B. Any comment? Sorry about that. Okay. Mr. Ray.
Next is ordinance 15-2017. It's an ordinance amending the annual budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2017, and amending ordinance 13-2016 to fund the budget contingency, retirement contingencies in the fire and personnel departments, and various division operations in the recreational fund. Introduced and publicly read on first reading June 6th, 2017.
Any comment? Hearing none, item number 8, municipal orders.
First is Municipal Order 19-2017, a municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute an addendum to the 2014 lease and maintenance of Easy Go golf carts agreement between the City of Owensboro and Diver, Inc., whereby the city will lease 98 golf carts for its golf courses. Introduced and publicly read for approval on one reading June 6, 2017.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
City manager, do you have any comments?
Mayor, we currently lease 98 golf carts. That lease is expiring this month. We have an opportunity to keep the same carts, but reduce our monthly lease rate by $1,660 a month that will save us close to $50,000 on the 30 months of the contract that we would go forward with. They would maintain the same 3-year factory warranty. They would convert 2 of those 2-passenger carts to 4-passenger carts. They would get the maintenance back up to the speed that those vehicles were driving at before. They would provide 30 new or gently used coolers and an option to extend this lease 12 months. We would recommend that the commission adopt this.
Any comment from the public? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Ray, 8B.
Next is Municipal Order 20-2017, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an application for a Bulletproof Vest Partnership Initiative grant administered by the Bureau of Justice Assistance, designed to provide critical resources to law enforcement jurisdictions for the purposes of reimbursing the Owensboro Police Department 50% of the total cost of $18,676 expended to purchase 28 new bulletproof vests, that amount being $9,338. This is introduced and publicly read on first reading June 6, 2017.
Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
City manager?
Mayor, the police department needs 28 new bulletproof vests. Total cost would be $18,676. This is your authorization to apply for a U.S. Bureau of Justice grant that would reimburse half that cost, saving us $9,338 local dollars. We recommend approval.
Commission comment?
Just curious, Mayor,
Mr. Condor?
is this replacing existing?
It's part replacement, but it's also those 7 new officers that the commission authorized. It would pay for those vests as well.
What do we do with the old ones?
I have to ask the chief that.
Just curious. We could have used them about 3 weeks ago, I guess.
Oh,
Art Elam, Police Chief. We actually train with those vests. They only come with a 5-year warranty, so, yeah, we don't distribute those.
So the vests have a shelf life of 5 years?
5 years, because of the conditions in which officers wear them out in the cars in the heat of the summer, so sweating and all those things that occur when an officer has that vest on degrades the
It
protectiveness,
degrades the
I guess.
Kevlar?
Yeah. They only warranty for 5 years. I don't know anybody that wants to be shot with one after 5 years to test that, but,
That's interesting.
yeah. But we do, to answer your question, we train with those, not with bullets, but, all right.
Without the bullets?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. City manager items, is that next?
Yes, Mayor, I'd ask you to call on Ms. Hamrick for the financial report ending March 31st.
Ms. Hamrick?
Yes, Mayor, I'm happy to give the financial report for the month ended March 31st, 2017. Our general fund revenues through March of $36,366,266 were $720,899 over budget, primarily due to occupational withholding tax and timing of property tax collections. And I just want to reiterate, when we say over budget, that's a favorable, good thing that we're over the revenue budget. So, and then on to the general fund expenditures of $34,710,236 were $1,118,291 under budget, primarily due to timing in maintenance and supplies. In our sanitation fund, revenues of $5,701,684 are $171,241 over budget, primarily due to dumpster services and sale of capital assets. Sanitation expenditures of $4,355,487 were $554,602 under budget, primarily due to tipping fee costs and timing of capital outlay. Expenditures in our transit fund and recreational fund are under budget. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to try and answer.
Any questions from the commission? Public? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to file for audit.
Motion.
second.
No comment, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 9B, Mr. Parrish.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm asking the commission consider the following personnel appointments tonight. Donna Haney, probationary full-time, non-civil service appointment, accounting clerk, effective June 12th. Dustin Ham, probationary full-time, non-civil service appointment, laborer maintenance helper, effective June 12th. Kevin Morris, probationary full-time, non-civil service appointment, maintenance worker, effective June 12th. Sarah Harris, regular full-time, non-civil service appointment, accounting clerk, occupational license fees, effective June 13th. Michael Nichols, regular full-time, non-civil service appointment, police sergeant, effective June 13th. Christopher Brown, probationary intermittent, non-civil service appointment, reserve police officer, effective June 12th. And Craig Sutter, probationary full-time, non-civil service appointment, police officer, effective June 12th.
Okay, motion to approve, please.
Motion.
Second.
Any comment from the commission? Any comment from the public? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9C, city manager comments.
Nothing further tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, communication from elected officials. Commissioner Smith-Wright.
Mayor, the only thing that I have is that if there's anyone who has not received the pin, the Vietnam pin, and would like one, that, you know, they can contact me. Since we're not going to do it at the meetings anymore, they can just contact me directly, and I'll be happy to make sure that they receive that.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Commissioner Vellada.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Commissioner Condor.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
2 or 3 things, please. Again, Nick Hetman recognized today being D-Day, 73 years of the longest day that occurred to earn a lot of our freedoms that we enjoy and take for granted sometimes. This weekend, the Kentucky High School Association State Fast Pitch coming in the 8th through the 10th, represented 3rd Region by Catholic High. Everybody go out and enjoy. It's a great time out there. This Saturday, the Fine Arts Museum will be having their 40th anniversary of Arts by the Stars. Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright has her sculpture, I think, that's going to be available. City Manager Bill Parrish has a painting that his lovely wife helped him with, I think.
Myself.
You did it all yourself.
He's a Marine.
And my wife and I also did a little piece of artwork, but she's much, much better than I am, as we know that side, right? Yeah, really. Last comment, please. Knowing how many people are down at Smothers Park and the pooling of the river is now, I think, being established, do we have a status report on the waterfall of when it may be activated or not?
Mr. Ray.
Wayne Shelton.
Wayne Shelton, front and center, excuse me.
Good evening, Wayne Shelton, Public Works Director. Visiting the inlet water feature this morning, it does appear that the river has reached summer pool elevation, and we have executed preparation order for getting it prepared to be opened with the goal to have it open by the end of this month. So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Wayne. Okay. I have a little presentation. Is that on? You got that to where you can spin it up one time? A couple weeks ago, or maybe longer, I don't know, the Chamber sponsored a trip to Washington, D.C., and it was a very effective trip. We met with Senator McConnell and Senator Rand Paul and Congressman Guthrie was kind of like our tour guide. We had an opportunity to meet directly with Department of Secretary Elaine Chao, and her Director of Operations is an Owensboro fellow named Todd Inman, and we were there to try and break the ice on a possibility of bringing the road from Huntingburg area to the foot of the Natural Bridge. And so we have a few little pictures. We just like to prove that we were actually there, and the Sony DVD player may do it at this time. and there's no music or anything. But I'll try and give you. So we flew in on an airplane. Imagine that. And this is where I'm explaining to the staff member of the Department of Transportation about where we want the road. Of course, that's Elaine Chow, Department Secretary. Here we're meeting with Senator McConnell in his little office offside the majority. This is Congressman Guthrie and Clay Ford and some of the other folks that were there, Senator Bowen, and other members of the chamber group. There's Candace Brake, she's the CEO over there. And this is a big deal as far as I'm concerned, having the opportunity to try and not end up in a cul-de-sac, so hopefully we can get that done. Look, we're in the group shot in Secretary Child's office. That's a little trolley that takes you from the members' offices over to the Capitol building, and we're sitting here at Old Ebbitt. That's actually Donald Trump Jr.'s signature, if you can believe something that bad. This is out in front of the west wing of the White House. It's Candace and Bryant, and there we are. The transportation is a big issue in our community, and there's the Marine at the door of the west wing of the White House, and it was a great trip. It was very effective, kind of a speedy trip, but that was some of the things that we as a commission have been doing along with that other thing, that budget. So just thought you might like to see it. Want to thank the chamber for putting all that together, and obviously our elected officials were great. Senator McConnell took pictures with everybody, and Senator Paul had to come off the floor to talk to us. And of course, if you've ever been to Washington and you don't call Congressman Guthrie, you're missing it, because he'll just stop whatever he's doing and just take you around and make sure that you enjoy your trip. 2 days before that, he had, I bet, 100 kids from Highland Elementary School. He was showing them around at the Capitol. So he's a great ambassador for the 2nd Congressional District. If there are no other comments from the public, then at this time we'll have the open public forum where members of the audience are invited to address the City Commission on any matter of public concern that was not on tonight's agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of this commission. City Commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of the citizens of Owensboro and taxpayers. The meetings are not intended to serve as public forums for candidates and da-da-da. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the City Commission, please make their way to the podium, be recognized. Speakers must state their name and address for the clerk's record and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. Since the item is not on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or the commission, and the mayor reserves the right to extend the time to the speaker.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
My name is Mort Murphy. My residence is 876 Live Oak Place, Owensboro, Kentucky. I'd like to start off with a little trivia question. Does anybody in this room know who Dean Dawley was?
No, sir. Sure.
Hearing none, I will tell you. Dean Dawley was Owensboro's first city manager. And I remember it well. I was a freshman in high school. I was 15 years old. And for a 15-year-old, I had some unusual interests in city government. First of all, I delivered Cap Gardner's newspaper. He lived on Robin Road. And I tried to call him Mr. Mayor or Mr. Gardner. He said, Mort, just call me Cap. And Dean Dawley, there have been 8 city managers since Dean Dawley. And I have known every one of them personally except our current city manager. I've never had the opportunity to meet our city manager. I asked to meet with him, but he wouldn't, saying for reasons he knows about. And it's no degradation to Mr. Parrish. As far as I know, Mr. Parrish has been doing a very good job for the city of Owensboro. And one other trivia question. Who knows where Max Road's City Park is? Well, I'm proud of you. For those of you who don't know, it's at 7th and Walnut, the former location of the old Wilson School. And I think most people in this town know the tremendous asset to this city Max Rhodes was. And the other thing named after him is a sewage treatment plant, which I don't think Max would object to that, but I think it's kind of degradation. I'm not one in favor of naming facilities after politicians, but I really think it'd be better if the commission could maybe appoint a committee to come up with a more suitable memorial for Max Rhodes.
Well, he actually wasn't a politician, if I'm correct. He wasn't elected, wasn't he? He was hired by the city commission to be city manager. So, and truly, he's not an elected official or well, he's a pretty good politician, but he's not an elected official.
I understand that.
All right, and I'm sure you do, but somebody else might not understand.
But Max and I were very good friends. We served together on the Metropolitan Planning Commission. But he is probably the biggest asset this community ever had. Back in the days of the so-called revenue sharing, where the federal government was giving back money that was ours anyhow, Max steadfastly refused to let that money be spent on recurring expenses, not knowing if it would be available the next year. He insisted they be spent for capital expenses. That's one thing he was very steadfast on.
Okay, I got a trivia question for you. How long was Max Rhodes city commissioner? City manager?
Nearly 30 years.
23.
How many?
23, I've been told. But I wouldn't go to bat for that either, so.
He served from 1983 to 1991, and he also served from 1959 to 1980. There's 21 years right there. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. That's all just my opinion.
Okay, we appreciate your time.
Okay. Now, the main reason I'm here, several years ago, OMU placed a pole in an alley behind my business, blocking the alley. They did this in collusion with the city. The city came up with this crazy statement that that was not an alley. That's as crazy a statement as that the Board of Education ran Craven's Pool. We do know the Board of Education at one time owned that property, but they never ran the pool. My family I personally have been using that alley for over 60 years. And my parents lived in a house that bordered the alley in the early 1930s. And I gave, I had requested to meet with Mayor Ron Payne, and he was, I'm sure, counseled by the city manager not to meet with me. And the letter that I sent to Ron Payne was turned over to the city manager, who responded to the letter stating that they met with the Public Works Department, Engineering Department, and legal staff. This, as far as the Owensboro only has one engineering department. I met with that engineering department. They gave me plats proving that it's an alley, no question that it's an alley. And OMU has illegally placed that pole in the alley, blocking it for anybody's use. They do not even have a right-of-way or an easement for where the pole was placed. And I would just request that the city, these same departments that are mentioned here, revisit that and not deny the facts. I gave to the legal department and OMU irrefutable evidence that that is an alley, and they don't let the facts cloud the issue.
Okay, thank you.
And I would really just respectfully request that you revisit this.
Okay. Mr. Murphy, city manager like to respond? Not a debate or anything, just his response.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. I know this has been a long and ongoing struggle. I know that both of our attorneys have looked at it, and they do refute the legal evidence that you've presented. I know you've talked to OMU and you've talked to us. Our engineering department is in support and agreement with what our attorneys agreed to. But the bottom line, Mayor and Commissioners, is that OMU offered, and I've stated to Mr. Murphy in letter, OMU offered to pay for an attorney to independently deal with this separate from the city, separate from OMU, and get an answer, and Mr. Murphy has not availed himself of that. I've talked to Mr. Nolte as late as 6 months ago, who still offers that attorney to assist you, and you've not accepted that, because our attorneys disagree with your opinion.
May I respond to that?
Sure.
First of all, the only two people that were present when that offer was made was Terry Nolte and Mort Murphy, with no preconditions. I received a letter from OMU rescinding that offer. I met with, it's been almost a year ago, June 21st of the past year, met with OMU, gave them a detailed account of every bit of this. It wasn't even mentioned in the minutes of the meeting. And I couldn't even believe the messenger inquiry that reported on that committee didn't even mention that I made a presentation. I made an offer there how to settle it. The letter I received back from J.T. Fulkerson is almost ridiculous. And if that offer still stands, OMU, I'd gladly accept it. But what happened, I gave them the irrefutable proof that the alley is an alley, and when Pat Pace realized they couldn't overcome that, they withdrew the offer.
Okay. I think we've just about publicly litigated this a bunch. Our city attorney would like to share a comment, I think.
Well, just one thing for both the public and the city commission is that not only had this issue been looked at by both of myself, but had been dealt with for many years by my predecessor, Mr. Fowler, and independently we've all three concluded the same.
So it looked like there's not going to be a solution that, I guess you still get the lawyer?
I'll contact Mr. Nolte tomorrow.
The city manager will contact Mr. Nolte tomorrow and see if that offer is still available to you, Mr. Murphy.
I thank you, but what Mr. Ray was referring to is a non-binding opinion that was neither dated nor signed by David Fowler. There's so many mistakes in that that's crazy, and your assistant knows what they are, every one of them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment? That's just too easy. Okay, at this time, I would consider a motion to go into closed session under KRS 61.8101G to discuss a specific proposal with representatives of a business entity. A motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, meeting's is it adjourned?
Hey, Austin, we don't plan on